The healthcare industry in Japan is heavily controlled by the government. Fees for all medical procedures and medications are set by a government committee. These fees are reevaluated every 2 years and are identical across the country. While healthcare costs in the United States have continued to rise, costs in Japan have been tightly controlled. Per capita, Japanese spend about half of what Americans spend on healthcare. Even though spending is significantly lower, the Japanese are leaders in terms of longevity. Life expectancy in Japan is the highest of any country at 83 years. The United States life expectancy is 78 years. The government has identified medical tourism as an opportunity for growth and is implementing several features, such as long-term visas for medical stays, to attract foreign visitors. Japanese healthcare professionals are highly trained and known for their hospitality. Additionally, less invasive, innovative therapies are becoming increasingly available. All Japanese residents are required to have health insurance, and although there is no penalty for lacking it, 90% of all individuals carry insurance under one of the 8 health insurance systems. The system covers 70% or more of medical costs. Patient copays have upper limits, so once monthly copays reach a cap, no further payment is required. The upper threshold is tiered and dependent on income and age. The FDA equivalent for regulation of medical devices and diagnostics is the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. A recently revised pharmaceutical affairs law aligns Japan's regulatory requirements more closely with those of other advanced nations, specifically the European Union and the United States, the leading producers and consumers of medical devices. Although there are efforts to harmonize regulatory requirements, there are still differences between all 3 systems.
In the area of Kyoto, Tokyo, lies LSI Medience Corporation. Formerly known as the Mitsubishi Chemical Medience Corporation, in 2014 its name changed when the Mitsubishi Chemical Holding Company wanted to create a new healthcare company in the Life Science Institute Inc., or LSII. The president and CEO of this new healthcare company is Shichi Kiso, with Akio Ito serving as CEO and director of LSI Medience Corporation. The company has revenues of about $771 million and over 3,000 employees. Their mission and vision is that of kaiteki. Kaiteki is a sustainable condition that is comfortable for people, society, and the earth, transcending time and generations. The group philosophy is good chemistry for tomorrow, with a second meaning to the word chemistry, referring to the compatibilities, relationships, and connections between objects, between people and objects. Kaiteki management was created with a view to solve environmental and social issues. The 3 management axes are management of economics, with a focus on capital efficiency, management of technology, with an aim to foster innovation, and management of sustainability, which aims to enhance social value through improvements in sustainability. The company logo represents a human, with the initial letters of LSI. DNA serves as a motif with a sharp edge at the tip, emphasizing innovation and growth. LSI Medience Corporation has 66 offices and 21 labs throughout Japan. They are CAP certified and the largest laboratory for clinical trials in Japan.
The products of LSI Medience Corporation are many and fall within one of 4 categories. First, in vitro diagnostics, products and clinical testing. Second, non-clinical and clinical services. Third, food sanitation and hygiene analysis. And fourth, those produced in its anti-doping laboratory. According to the FDA, in vitro diagnostics are tests that can detect diseases, conditions, or infections. One of LSI's most notable clinical diagnostic instruments is PathFast, a new point-of-care testing system that yields highly sensitive, high-performance measurements to be used in conjunction with those gleaned from the more traditional panel testing. One of its most notable scientific analytical instruments is the iAtroscan MK6. LSI Medience Corporation is also responsible for product advances in the following areas: gene analysis and chromosomal testing, research testing, drug and toxicology testing, preventative medicine, and electronic medical records. The non-clinical and clinical services category is comprised of pharmaceuticals and chemicals. Continuous advances in drug and chemical development enables LSI Medience Corporation to provide comprehensive services for every step of the drug development process. This development includes pharmaceutical drugs, novel chemical products, and agricultural chemicals, all of which are aimed at bettering the health and safety of its consumers. LSI Medience also offers a great deal of assistance and functions in pharmaceutical areas like exploration capabilities, preclinical studies, clinical studies, and post-marketing surveillance. LSI Medience also makes a number of contributions through its food sanitation and hygiene analysis products and services. These include food bacterial testing and analysis, food chemical testing and analysis, detection of residual agricultural chemicals in food products, environmental health testing and analysis, support in constructing hazard analysis and critical control point, or HACCP, and good manufacturing practice, or GMP systems. Finally, as a sole WADA approved, and WADA is World Anti-Doping Agency, doping control laboratory in the country, and the first one to actually be approved in all of Asia, LSI offers a range of important and unique doping tests. These tests are conducted in compliance with several quality-associated accreditations, so test results from their laboratory are globally accepted. Clientele are both domestic and international.
Now we're going to review some of the competition for LSI Medience. With IVD products, or in vitro diagnostics, we have Roche Diagnostics out of Switzerland, Abbott Laboratories out of the US and Illinois, and Bayer Diagnostics in Germany, which are huge companies that compete. I'll review Abbott as we might be more familiar with them. Abbott's based out of Abbott Park, Illinois, and in 2015, their annual revenue was $20.4 billion. Not only do they compete in diagnostics, where they claim to bring accurate, timely information to better manage your health, but they also compete in nutrition and pharmaceuticals. With clinical testing, another Japanese company is called Aura Clinical, and they compete with ophthalmology clinical testing. The biggest competition is probably in the pharmaceutical category. Takeda, out of Osaka, Japan, is estimated to have $14.9 billion in revenue in 2016. Takeda is a research-based global company and is focused on pharmaceuticals. We also have Otsuka Pharmaceutical Company. In 2016, the revenue was $10.7 billion.
Now we'll move on to the SWOT analysis. LSI benefits from a number of strengths, not the least of which is the significant resources available through parent company Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings. The company has been operating for nearly 50 years and has a reputation born from that experience and size. Another strength is LSI's centralized laboratory testing process. Channeling all test samples to one laboratory allows the company to maintain strict standards and controls to ensure consistency and accuracy. Further, the company gains significant cost benefits from immense scale. Reports indicate the central laboratory handles around 120,000 test samples every day. Other strengths include the security provided by a large scope of services, and that LSI is the only lab in Japan accredited by the World Anti-Doping Agency. This strength matches well with the opportunity presented by the 2020 Olympics, which will be held in Tokyo. LSI faces other opportunities, including a demographic change in the Japanese market. As the population ages, the need for clinical tests has increased. A trend in increasing need for clinical testing has grown globally as well, as other countries increasingly deal with disorders, diseases, and other health conditions. This global growth highlights the weakness in LSI's centralized process. As opportunities increase globally, the company is not positioned to provide clinical in-lab testing for health institutions in other countries. Furthermore, point-of-care testing is posing a threat to LSI's centralized process, as easy-to-use kits and equipment are bringing the lab to healthcare providers, emergency responders, and in some cases, to patients themselves. While global biomarker growth is expected to continue, the market for point-of-care testing is expected to grow faster. LSI's value chain is optimized for the core clinical test business, but has also expanded as PathFast was introduced almost a decade ago. Support functions are managed out of the corporate Kaiteki building in Tokyo. Primary activities take place throughout Japan as LSI's network handles inbound logistics, transporting test samples to the central laboratory. LSI maintains 5 labs in Japan, where operations around R&D, testing, and non-clinical activities occur. After the tests are complete, data services linked with client health institutions report the results to healthcare providers. As for PathFast, LSI has contracted with distributors around the world. In the US, distribution is handled by Eli Tech Group, and marketing and sales are handled through Cardinal Health. Additional digital integration services are handled by Alere Informatics, a US point-of-care testing software developer. In this way, LSI is positioned to continue high-quality, centralized clinical testing in Japan while expanding to take advantage of point-of-care testing globally. The company continues to explore additional growth.